The world of science is always hard at work changing or reaffirming our beliefs about the world. Much of this work goes under the radar, but every now and again, a theory arrives that blows the status quo out of the water. Few theories have changed the way we view life like Darwin's theory of evolution. So climb down from your tree, make yourself comfortable, and get ready for the story of how a barnacle-collecting introvert changed the very meaning of what it is to be human. Charles Robert Darwin was an English naturalist and biologist who is best known for his theory of evolution and the concept of natural selection. He is considered one of the most important figures in the history of science, and his work continues to influence the way we understand the natural world. Darwin was born in Shrewsbury, England, on February 12, 1809, the fifth of 6 children of Robert and Susanna Darwin. His father was a wealthy physician and his mother was the daughter of a wealthy industrialist. Darwin's father intended for him to become a doctor, but he had little interest in medicine. Instead, he was fascinated by nature and spent much of his youth exploring the countryside around his home. In 1825, at the age of 16, Darwin entered Edinburgh University to study medicine, but soon realized that his true passion was natural history. He later transferred to Christ's College, Cambridge, where he studied biology, geology, and botany. It was there that he began to develop his interests in natural history, and where he formed his earliest theories about the natural world. After completing his studies at Cambridge, Darwin traveled to South America as a naturalist aboard the HMS Beagle. The voyage, which lasted from 1831 to 1836, provided Darwin with a wealth of new observations and specimens, and it was during this trip that he began to develop his theory of evolution. One of Darwin's most important observations during the voyage was the variation among different populations of animals and plants. He noticed, for example, that the finches on the Galapagos Islands had beaks of different sizes and shapes that were adapted to different food sources. He also observed that the animals and plants on the Galapagos were similar to those on the South American mainland, but with some notable differences. These observations, along with many others, led Darwin to develop the theory of natural selection. According to this theory, populations of animals and plants are not fixed, but rather change over time through a process of natural selection. This occurs when individuals with certain traits are more likely to survive and reproduce than those without those traits. As a result, over time, the population becomes more and more adapted to its environment. After returning from his voyage, Darwin spent many years collecting and analyzing data to support his theory of natural selection. He also corresponded with other naturalists and scientists around the world, exchanging information and ideas. In 1858, Darwin received a manuscript from a young naturalist named Alfred Russel Wallace that presented a theory of natural selection that was very similar to his own. Darwin and Wallace jointly presented their theory at the Linnean Society in London that year. In 1859, Darwin published the book on his findings, titled On the Origin of Species. The book was groundbreaking in its time, as it proposed a completely different explanation of the diversity of life on Earth, rejecting the traditional religious explanation that species were created individually and remained unchanged throughout history. One of the most compelling arguments Darwin made in the book is that if evolution is true, then there should be transitional forms between different species, just like in the video game Pokémon. In the book, he presented many such examples, such as the different species of birds that he had observed on the Galapagos Islands. Despite the support of many scientists, Darwin's theory of natural selection was met with significant opposition, particularly from religious leaders who saw it as conflicting with their understanding of the origin of species. However, over time, Darwin's work gained widespread acceptance, and his ideas became the foundation for modern evolutionary biology. In addition to his work on natural selection, Darwin also made many other important contributions to the field of biology. He studied the development of plants and animals, and was the first to recognize the importance of pollination in plant reproduction. He also made significant contributions to our understanding of the variation and distribution of plants and animals, as well as the geological history of the Earth. In 1871, Darwin published The Descent of Man and Selection in Relation to Sex, in which he applied his theory of natural selection to humans, and argued that humans were not separate from the rest of the animal kingdom, but rather a part of it. Darwin's work was honored by many prestigious awards. During his life and after his death, he was awarded the Royal Society's Copley Medal in 1864, and was elected as a Fellow of the Royal Society in 1839. He was also awarded an honorary doctorate from the University of Cambridge in 1877. Despite the controversy that surrounded his work, Darwin's contributions to science were enormous and had a profound impact on our understanding of the natural world. His theory of natural selection is considered one of the most important scientific discoveries of all time, and it continues to be a central principle in the field of biology. Darwin's work also had a significant impact on other fields of study, such as anthropology, psychology, and philosophy. His ideas about the evolution of humans have been particularly influential in the field of anthropology, and have led to a greater understanding of the origins of human behavior and culture. Towards the end of his life, Darwin struggled with many health conditions, including one that caused swelling and blistering to his face. It is rumored that this is why he grew his famously large bushy beard. Others argue that he grew it to disguise himself to avoid attention from his fans and critics, which isn't hard to believe for an introverted scientist poorly equipped for fame. In 1881, Darwin's health began to decline and he died at his home in Down, Kent, England on April 19, 1882. He was buried at Westminster Abbey, in a ceremony attended by many of the leading scientists of his time. Today, Darwin's legacy lives on through his many books, scientific papers, and contributions to the field of biology. His theory of natural selection is considered one of the most important scientific discoveries of all time, and it continues to shape our understanding of the natural world. His ideas on evolution continue to inspire new scientific research, and he continues to be remembered as one of the most significant figures in the history of science. We hope you enjoyed this video about the life of Charles Darwin. If you did, leave a like and subscribe to make this upright ape very happy. Let us know which human influencer you'd like to see next in the comments.